Hi, this is Ike from Groovy Entertainment. Today we got another book to read for you. Today's book is The Berenstain Bears and Too Much Vacation from 1989. So let's get started. Well, that's everything, said Mama Bear, as she and sister and Brother Bear held the car trunk lid so that Papa Bear could tie it down. Not quite, said Papa, running back into the treehouse. We almost forgot the camera, he said when he reappeared. What good is a wonderful vacation without photographs to remember it by? It had been Papa I dared to take their vacation in the Great Grizzlies. It'd be a real wilderness experiment. We'll live off the land. We are getting too soft here in the valley with our supermarkets and other conveniences. When he saw the ad in the newspaper, there was no holding him. It said, try a wilderness vacation, a lovely mountain cabin complete with a rowboat by a beautiful crystal lake. Ah, said Papa, painting beautiful words pictures. To wake with the rising sun and catch a breakfast from a clear mountain lake. To bathe in sparkling water. To snack on delicious wild berries as we tramp the mountain trail. To gaze at the beauty of a mountain sunset, then to sleep through peace and quiet of a mountain night, far from the noise of traffic and neighbors' barking dogs. It all sounds great to the cubs. What kind of fish will we catch, Papa? Asked Brother. Trout, no doubt, he answered with supreme confidence. But Mama wasn't so sure he would catch anything, so when she packed, she took along some canned goods in case the trout wasn't biting, and some books and games in case of a rainy day. I can almost taste that fresh caught trout, said Brother, as the road lead even higher into the mountain forest, and I can almost taste these yummy wild berries, said Sister. And don't forget my terrific wilderness stew, said Papa, as he turned onto an even steeper road. But we didn't bring things for stew, objected Mama. All we bought are some canned goods. Of course we didn't, laughed Papa. I'm talking about my special live off the land survival stew. It's my secret recipe. I make it from bark, leaves, and roots that I find in the woods. When will we get there? Asked the cubs. Very soon. I can tell by the smell of the mountain air, said Papa, taking a deep breath. That's not mountain air, complained Brother, making a face. That's skunk. Said Papa, wrinkling his nose. A good time to start taking these pictures, thought Mama. Pew, said Papa. Click, said the camera. There the cabin, shouted Sister as they rounded a bend. And there it was indeed, a mountain cabin beside a lake, complete with rowboat. Of course, it wasn't quite as I had pictured it from the ad. Crystal Lake looked more like mud soup. The lovely mountain cabin looked more like a tumble-down shack. There was a rowboat, all right, but it was half sunk in the lake. But Papa wasn't the least bit discouraged. He was more excited than ever. It's perfect, he shouted. The most perfect live off the land vacation spot I had ever seen. Mama wasn't so sure. She noticed that there was no wires leading into the cabin, which mean things would mean there was no electricity. That's the last thing we need, gruffled Papa. What you need on a live off the land vacation is plenty of can do spirit and lots of forest smarts, and I have got enough of those for all of us. He took a cooking pot and folded in chairs from the car trunk. Here, he said, making a seat for Mama. This is a vacation. You relax while I gather the fixin' for my fabulous wilderness, too. And you two tidy up the cabin, he called to the cubs as he headed into the forest with the cooking pot. But Mama didn't expect to do much. Relaxing on this vacation, and she wasn't surprised to find that the cabin was an even worse mess inside than it was outside. There was an ankle-deep carpet of twigs, branches, and dead leaves on the floor. It was practical a museum of spider webs, cocoons, and mice nests. Time for another picture, thought Mama. Scurry, scurry went the mice. Click went the camera. What's this? Asked Sister as she cleaned leaves out of the sink. That's a hand pump for water, answered Mama. Just what I need. It was Papa bring back with his cooking pots, filled with strange-looking barks, leaves, and roots. A little water for my stew. He worked the handle. The pump gurgled and squeaked, and after a while began to squirt water, rusty brown water, but he wasn't discouraged. Just what I need for my stew, he said cheerfully. Ready-made gravy. He carried the pot outside, where he prepared a cooking fire. It was very exciting for the cubs, but Mama wasn't so sure. So she made a fire in the fireplace and warmed up a supper of canned beans and dried honeycombs. When Papa cried, stew time, the cubs ran out for a first taste. Mama followed with the camera. Here's to living off the land, said Papa, holding up a big spoon of the strange-looking stuff. Then he, brother, and sister each took a taste. Yuck, said brother. P.U., said Papa. Click, said the camera. Mama Bear, supper of beans and honeycombs, provided very tasty. Papa Bear stretched and yawned. Now early to bed, so I can get up with the sun and catch our breakfast. The sun didn't rise, and it was very beautiful. The sun did rise, and it was very beautiful, but Papa snored right through it. The frog, crickets, and owl had made such a racket during the night that he hadn't fallen asleep until just before the rising sun lit up the sky. Papa began to get a little discouraged when he went out to catch breakfast. The boat sunk as soon as he stepped into it, and all he caught was a gloppy mudsucker that made stuffy noises and stared. Sniff, sniff, glup, said the mudsucker. Click, said the camera. It was Papa's turn to snap the picture when Mama and the cub tasted the wild berries. The thorn was something fierce, and the berries were so sour, even the bird perked. Later, there was a perfectly beautiful sunset. But the bear family didn't get to see much of it. They were too busy swatting the swarm of hungry mountain mosquitoes that swooped in front from the lake. Live off the land, you say, shouted Mama, and they ran for the cabin. With all those thorns and mosquitoes, it's more like the land is living off of us. It began to rain just as they reached the cabin, but the roof leaked badly, and pretty soon they had more leaks than they had pots and pans. They spent a miserable night. By morning, they were soaked to their fur, and there was a foot of water in front of the stairways. Don't worry, said Papa. The rain can't last forever. It just as soon as I sweep out this water, but instead of Papa sweeping the water sweep Papa out the front door, down the muddy soup, and onto the muddy Murk Lake. When Mama and the cubs reached him, he looked more like a mud ball than Papa Bear. Say, he looked, say, he said, looking up at them, I have a terrific idea. Let's go home. So the Bear family loaded the truck, put the car top up, bundled into the car, and bumped and splashed down the mountain in the driving rain. The rain had stopped, and the sun had come up by the time they reached the valley in their treehouse. Had never looked so good to them as it did that day. The next day, Mama took the film to the camera store to be delivered. When the picture came back a few days later, the Bear family wrote titles on them. They began to chuckle as they passed the pictures around. The chuckle grew to roaring laughter, and soon they were laughing so hard they cried. Papa smelled the mountain air. We are greeted up on our arrival. We tasted Papa wilderness stew. Papa catch our breakfast. Our first taste of wild mountain berries. Papa decided it's time to go home. And every so often through the years, they take out these pictures and have a absolutely wonderful time enjoying the worst vacation the Bear family ever had. So that was the Berenstain Bears Too Much Vacation from 1989. So if you like, subscribe, share, and comment, have a groovy day with another video coming out real soon.